I hope you're all having a fabulous week so far. Now today I want to play around with one of my favourite flavour combinations, which is banana and peanut. Now this pair have been together for a very long time, making things delicious, and it's no new thing. There are loads of recipes, I've done loads myself and I've still got more up my sleeve, but today I'm going to give you a recipe for peanut and banana caramel cupcakes. These are going to be fluffy peanut sponges filled with banana caramel, topped with banana caramel buttercream, and then finished off with some really tasty peanut brittle. And I'm going to start by getting all the hot things out of the way so that they can cool down by the time we need them. So I'm going to start by making the banana caramel because that takes the longest to make and the longest to cool down. And to start with, I have a saucepan here. Make sure you use quite a big saucepan and one that's got a nice thick base so you get nice even heating. And into my saucepan, I'm going to put 420 grams of caster sugar. This seems like quite a lot of caster sugar, but we need quite a lot of caramel, so it's fine. And on top of that, pour 220 millilitres of water. Now that needs to go on the heat, obviously, because caramel doesn't happen by itself, but before you get started, make sure you have the other ingredients ready so you're not faffing about at the end. So what you need at the end are about 200 to 220 grams of pureed banana. I just whizzed this up in the food processor. And also for the very end, 180 millilitres of double cream. But for now, get your water and sugar on the hob. Now, when you're making caramel with water and sugar, what you don't want to do is to move it about too much or stir it, because what will happen is the sugar will start to crystallise and it can be quite scary. It will come around eventually, but it's just something you don't need to deal with. So just don't stir it, just stick it on your hob, turn the heat onto medium to high and let it start melting and bubbling away. Now this does take quite some time, but for goodness sake, don't leave the house or go and have a shower or a bath, or a nice relaxing bath and fall asleep, because you really do need to be close to it and keep an eye on it just in case it goes kind of too far, because once it goes too far, there's no getting it back. And what you're going to be looking for is the sugar will begin to melt, it'll stay nice and clear for some time, and the next stage happens when it's a light amber colour, and that's when we put the banana in. Right, it's at the light amber stage, so now it's time to take it off the heat and put my banana puree in. So when you put your banana, it's going to bubble up quite a lot. That's why you need a nice big pan, but just keep stirring it gently until all the bubbling subsides. And then once that happens, put it back onto the heat and keep stirring it until it's a nice deep amber colour. Now, the reason you want to keep stirring it the whole time is because banana burns quite easily, so you don't want it to catch on the bottom of the pan. So keep it moving the whole time until it gets to the right colour. Right, that's been going for about 5 or 6 minutes now, and it's a lovely, deep, rich amber colour. So I'm going to take it off the heat now and add my double cream. Just keep it in a slow, steady stream and be really, really gentle. So stir that really thoroughly to make sure all the cream is well combined. And once that's done, you can leave that to one side while you get on with the next bit. While my caramel is cooling down, I'm going to be making the peanut brittle, because that needs to set hard before we use it at the very end. So back with my saucepan again, and there's a few things I'm going to need for this. I've got 220 grams of caster sugar, 4 tablespoons of water, 125 grams of chopped roasted and salted peanuts, and 15 grams of chopped cold butter. I've also got a heat-proof spatula, you can also use a wooden spoon, and I've got my Silpat, and if you don't have one of those you can use a greased baking tray. And I'm just going to start by putting my sugar and water into the saucepan and taking it over to the hob to caramelise. It's a lovely rich amber colour. So as before, I'm going to add my butter to this and I'm going to stir it, and it's going to bubble up quite a bit, but just keep it steady. So stir it until all the bubbles have subsided, and once it's a nice smooth liquid, you can then add the peanuts and give them a really good stir in as well. And once all the peanuts are thoroughly coated in the caramel, you can then pour it onto your baking tray or your Silpat and just let it set. While my hot caramelly things are cooling down, I'm going to get on with making the cupcakes, and this is going to be a peanut butter sponge. I'm going to start with my all-in-one recipe using 125 grams of self-raising flour, along with 125 grams of caster sugar, and then 1/4 teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda and a pinch of salt, and then shuffle that all through a sieve. And then I'm putting 135 grams of soft unsalted butter in, along with 75 grams of smooth peanut butter. And then 2 large free-range eggs. And once it's all in, you just need to mix that on a medium speed for 1 minute. Once that's had a minute, just turn the speed right down and add 1.5 tablespoons of whole milk. And then speed that up to medium again and mix it for 30 seconds. So that's my batter all ready. It's looking lovely and whippy. And now all that remains is to put it into my cupcake cases. And I've got a 12-hole tin here, already lined with paper cases. I'm gonna go ahead and distribute my batter evenly among all 12 things. And once all your batter is in, you just need to bake those at 170 degrees C for 20 to 22 minutes. Okay, my cakes are out of the oven. I'm just gonna leave them there to cool while I get on with my icing. And this is so delicious, this icing, because we're gonna use the banana caramel that we made earlier. So I'm gonna start by putting 200 grams of soft unsalted butter in my mixer and beat that for about 5 minutes until it's really pale and fluffy. So after 5 minutes, the butter goes super pale and it's just now ready to have the icing sugar put in. And I've got 330 grams of sifted icing sugar, which I'm going to put in 2 stages, beating very well in between each one. It's been going for a few minutes now and it's now ready to put the caramel in. So I've got about 1/3 of the mixture that I made earlier. It's a rough estimate, just enough to make it a really tasty buttercream. Right, that is looking and smelling absolutely amazing. It's got this really nice, very, very pale colour. And it's nearly time to use it, but now I'm just going to put it to one side, have a little clear up, and then it's time to assemble stuff. Okay, it's time. So the first thing we need to do is to make room for that lovely caramel inside. So using an apple corer or something similar, remove the middles of your cupcakes. And once you've got loads of holes, you need to fill them up with banana caramel. And now that they're all filled, we need to top them with our lovely buttercream. And once they're all covered and looking really pretty, you can then drizzle some more caramel on top. And last but not least, we need to top these with peanut brittle. Well, that is a monster of a cupcake. I'm pretty excited about eating this, and you now have a recipe for this cupcake, but you also have recipes for banana caramel, which you can use on a bunch of other things, and peanut brittle. And there's more recipes for brittle and other recipes like this in my book, and if you haven't got that, you should check it out. There's a link in the description box below if you want to buy that. And I will be back next week with another recipe. Until then, you can subscribe to my channel and let me know if you make anything from my channel by hashtagging Cupcake Jemma on Instagram. I'll see you next week. Bye.